Well, yeah, this is a nice title to read to start the day off. So recently I found one of the funniest, saddest, and just craziest news article of this entire year, and I gotta say I'm in complete and utter awe. I mean, out of all the news articles I've read this year, from Trump working that good old 9 to 5 at McDonald's to people literally jacking lemonade stand, this one takes that #1 spot. It takes that nice gold star on the school chart. Now let me ask you a question. If you've ever been robbed, assaulted, maybe someone is harassing you, what is the one thing you'd probably do? Well, you would most likely call the police, 911, the 50, the fuzz. And in some, well, most cases, they would probably arrest the guy that is doing the crime, right? Well, that is unless you live in Minneapolis, because if you live there, the cops will essentially do nothing if the criminal is too dangerous. What the hell am I talking about? Well, here's a snippet of this story.
This was a shocking moment caught on camera. Video obtained by our NBC affiliate KARE 11 shows David Matori trimming a tree outside his Minneapolis home Wednesday when, according to court documents, a bullet was fired from his neighbor's upstairs window.
AJ Trickster here, and I was just scrolling on YouTube last night just seeing if there was anything good to watch, that wasn't your traditional slop content. And I came across this news story basically talking about a guy who got shot in the neck. Now that in itself isn't actually the funny part of the story, that's actually the sad part. Thankfully, the guy who got shot in the neck survived and seems to be making a recovery. And I'm gonna be honest, the way the guy got shot, it looked like it was a drive-by situation, just looking at the car in the video, just zooming past him after the shots went off. And it looks like from the situation, it wasn't actually a drive-by. In fact, the guy that shot him was actually his neighbor. Now apparently him and the neighbor have been having beef for a while, ever since the dude moved into the house. And apparently there are documents showing that the victim, the guy who got shot, called the police 19 times to basically talk about how the dude, the guy the suspect that shot him, has been harassing him and basically saying, racial slurs, just straight up being an ass. All that criminal nonsense and stuff.
Court documents show the victim called police 19 times prior to the shooting for incidents including harassment, hate speech, and verbal threats. It also says Shawshack suffers from mental illness. Shawshack has been charged with attempted murder, but he is not in jail.
So yeah, the neighbor seems to be your typical racist piece of shit that no one wants to be around and just happens to bother everyone, especially if you're black. So yeah, what are the odds of that? I mean, I'm gonna be honest, if someone called the police 19 times on a dude for essentially harassing them and just saying racial slurs and being an ass, I'd probably get a restraining order, or at the very least some sort of weapon for protection, because it's people like this that will essentially cross the line in the sand and essentially do something horrible that they can't come back from. In this case, it would be assault and attempted murder. Now, once my guy was conscious, the victim that got shot, I'm assuming he went to call 911 to basically say, hey, this dude just shot me, what are y'all gonna do? I mean, there's only so much the moms and the neighborhood watch can do to stop a madman with a gun in their neighborhood. Well, unfortunately, it seems like this is actually a problem the moms in the neighborhood watch have to deal with, because this essentially was the police response to hearing about this madman.
The likelihood of an armed, violent confrontation where we may have to use deadly force with the suspect in this case is high. We're not going to bust the door down, guns blazing, and get into a deadly force situation, but we will ensure the community will be safe.
Matori says he feels the Minneapolis Police Department failed to protect his family by not arresting his neighbor when they needed them most.
Who knew if you were dangerous enough, a bad boy, that the police would sit back, relax, take a good sip of their juice box, and essentially say, that's not our problem. Nah, but in all seriousness, I do understand on some level where this chief is coming from. He doesn't want his officers to get hurt or killed when dealing with this guy. But again, this is a madman with a gun. I feel like this is an appropriate time to go guns blazing, especially when you have the advantage, the high ground in this case. You also have the men, the resources, the time, the gun. Probably if you looked hard enough, you could also get the layout to the dude's house. But nah, I mean, the madman with a gun is just chilling, you know, having a cold beer, maybe smoking a joint, you know, just because he can, because the police can't do anything because they are too scared. Even the comments were flaming Minneapolis police for essentially not doing anything and letting this guy just go. Now, thankfully, after some time, the police decided to take action and actually charge and arrest this guy. Here's his mugshot. Not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting something a little bit different. Now, as glad as I am that this criminal is off the street and in bars, I'm just gonna say this charge and arrest means literally nothing. I mean, the cops were peer pressured into doing the right thing by not only the community, but also city council. So after hours of having a standoff with this madman, they finally decided to kick down the door and go guns blazing. The only thing was, there was no guns blazing. In fact, the madman with the gun, that's just what I'm gonna call him because at this point that's his name now, he actually decided to surrender. Yeah, this guy realized he was not gonna win this battle, and the moment he realized that, he just went hands up and decided to wave the white flag. So yeah, this is a pretty stupid story that happened. I mean, it's moments like this that made me really question what the hell the police are doing nowadays. I mean, another topic similar to this of police just being dumb is essentially this one time with Toronto PD, there was a lot of break-ins and just people stealing cars in specific areas. And basically, police response to all this was to tell people to leave their keys, their car keys, out in the front doors so their house won't get robbed. So yeah, Toronto PD is basically saying, yeah, would you rather want a car or would you rather want people to break inside your house and steal your stuff? It's like, you can't have, you can't keep both your stuff. So yeah, what do you think happened? Do you think the people listened? No, because it was so ridiculous and dumb that people decided to take matters into their own hand. But yeah, that's all folks, and remember, like and subscribe. Okay, bye.